No, Susie. We're not crossed. Anakin.
I had nothing to do with it, everyone.
Don't break anything. I almost cut my light in half. There you go. Obi-Wan stay.
That was easy.
Oh, no, everybody. Welcome to Taskforce Geek. Spoiler alert. I'm your host, Beth Freely.
I shall do as I must.
I'm joined by Mariam Nine Walt. And we're here.
Hi, guys.
We're here to break down episode 5 of Obi-Wan
Six.
Kenobi.
Six.
Six. The finale.
Here, I need to be over on the other side. Sorry.
Okay, all right. I'm playing. I love my lightsaber.
We couldn't resist. We had to give you a little lightsaber action today.
It's a little hard in a small space to have a full-on battle. I can't swing my sword without breaking a window.
And it's also kind of difficult to be about 1,200 miles away too.
I think that's true.
Like that, yeah.
We're having a force battle from Arizona to Texas.
And of course, my grandson is here with us on the floor, and he's just looking at me like, "Grandma, what's wrong with you?
Why are you so immature?"
Oh my goodness! Come on, guys. We know that episode was epic.
First, let's give a shout out to Dirk. He couldn't be with us this week.
Yes.
He missed the lightsaber battle.
He missed now, knowing Dirk, he could possibly be on here watching, but
right.
we'll let him know that he missed an epic lightsaber battle. He'll go watch it later.
Yeah. So, get better, Dirk.
You get you feeling better, Dirk. All right, hold on for a minute. I gotta move my grandson because he's about to get into stuff he's not supposed to do. All right, go on, you.
Oh yes, crawling.
Season 6. Episode 6.
Well, they call it chapters, isn't that what they call it?
Well, chapter, episode,
whatever.
Well, it's not really episodic. Now that I've watched it in a row,
yeah,
it's very much like a super long movie.
Almost 6 hours.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
6-hour movie, literally.
And I need more.
Seriously.
I need more.
I'm kind of hoping that the fact that Disney actually wrote season finale on their stuff is a good sign. I'm hoping that we are going to get an episode 2.
They called it the limited series, and now they changed the tag to season finale.
I think all of the Marvels were limited series, and we're getting a season 2 of Loki and a season 2 of Hawkeye.
And we're getting a season 2 of Moon Knight.
Are we getting a season 2 of What If?
Yes, we are.
Okay, yeah.
I gotta finish watching the first What If. No. I made it through the zombies, and then I stopped.
On a side note, zombie Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness was great, but we'll talk about that later. Hi, Mom. Hey. Maxine's is watching us.
Hey, Mom, how you doing?
Hi.
Yeah. So, chapter 6.
Let's get right into it. You want to start, Walt?
Okay. He's
no, I don't want to start.
Do you want to start, sis? You can start. You're the leader of the game.
Yeah,
so you're the ringleader.
Where do we start? Oh my gosh.
Let's start at the beginning.
They are being attacked by a Star Destroyer, just like in A New Hope. And instead of the camera coming from underneath the Star Destroyer, it's going over the top of the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Which, on a
Oh, we have Crawley baby.
Well, he's trying to get into everything, so sometimes it's just easier to do this. when you're watching TV shows like this on a big screen, it's really awesome. And that opening scene was very much reminiscent of A New Hope.
It was.
We've got a Star Destroyer chasing stuff. It's going after the fleeing
transport pod.
That's managed to get away from Reva and Vader on the planet. Vader is out for blood at this point. He wants Obi-Wan bad, and he knows he's on that. So what does our fearless hero do? Jumps into a pod and says, "Yeah, we'll get him to come after us so you guys can escape." Well, that sounds about right.
Or no, me. Not us.
Come after me. Yeah, come after me so you guys can escape. And
this isn't about us. This is about you.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
And of course, we've got Leia having a conniption because she doesn't want Obi-Wan to go.
She definitely had a 10-year-old tantrum.
Yes, she did. And actually, it was good to see.
It was a 10-year-old tantrum.
I also appreciate the fact that our fake Jedi offers to go, makes the comment to Obi-Wan, leave her alone for a few minutes and she'll come back and talk to you.
Right.
And then offers to go and talk to her for Obi-Wan.
Right.
I appreciated that because it brings his character a little more into the show. I suspect we're going to see him again. Probably a lot more.
In a way, it kind of his character kind of reminds me of Han Solo, the reluctant hero,
the scoundrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who thinks he's not good enough, but winds up being probably one of the best. So
exactly.
Yep. He's kind of the scoundrel, but he's not copying Han Solo.
No, he's not copying Han Solo whatsoever.
But he is the scoundrel. Who ends up has a moral streak.
Yeah. I would say that he's a combination of Lando and Han Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we see him go and talk to Leia, and so finally when Obi-Wan is able to actually talk to her, he's able to carry on a coherent conversation with her and make her understand why he has to do this.
Right.
And it gets her away from Vader. So that answers the question of how come Vader didn't go after her? How come Vader didn't figure it out? That she was force sensitive.
That is a big question. That really is, because in my opinion, throughout this whole series, you get glimpses that she is a sensitive. I mean, she's not lifting anything or nothing. No, she's just got that intuitive, real strong, like it's a little more than just like a natural intuitive ability. It's almost like she's reaching to the force. She can see things.
But he also doesn't get close enough to her either.
Yeah.
He never does get close
enough. But Reva does.
Reva does, but
and she's reading people's minds, but she's not picking up.
She's not picking up. And let's stop and think about who else has been around Leia during these times. We've had Obi-Wan around her. So any force sensitive could possibly, could think they're just picking up Obi-Wan and not realizing that there's another one there, including Reva. We've had Reva around her. So again, any stronger force sensitive, such as Vader, may just think he's picking up Reva or Obi-Wan. So in a way, they're kind of almost shielding Leia's force sensitivity to where her father can't even realize that she's there.
Maybe.
And then,
that's one way to do it, because they never really kind of explain that, because I think that they show her intuitive abilities quite clearly developing.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's the intuitive, but not necessarily force. We call it expanding her force ability.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because she tends to delve deeper into it, kind of like psychically. That's the only reason why I say it's emerging. It's not there. I mean, most people can be intuitive, but she's diving deeper. So you're seeing it. You're seeing sprinkles of it.
So let's stop and think about this for a minute. If you have never seen any of the Star Wars movies or any Star Wars TV shows, and you first come into watching this show and you don't know that Leia is Vader's daughter, you may not even realize that she's force sensitive or showing her force abilities.
Right. I mean, Luke literally in this whole show, Luke literally is like, I am the farm boy. I have no abilities.
Yeah,
I'm just a normal boy.
Luke's oblivious, and that's
good.
How we want it to be.
Yes.
And we kind of don't, and we didn't want Vader to realize that Leia existed because he has that realization in Revenge of the Sith.
Well, Leia is oblivious as well.
Yes.
Well, and he definitely that's all brought up kind of in the end. It's like she's given an explanation of her parents from a perspective.
Right.
Yes.
So we may, if we do get a season 2, which we probably are going to get a season 2.
I hope so.
We'll probably need more Obi-Wan.
We'll probably explore a younger Luke.
Yeah.
We'll probably explore younger Luke, and we'll probably see the same thing in him, because he was very, when you think about him in A New Hope, he was very inquisitive and wanting to, he was wanting to explore, but he was more as opposed to Leia, where Leia was being exposed to more. He wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure there's really a story with Luke, because he really is just, I mean, if you want to go with him, learning to showcase his fighter pilot, his flight skills, being able to shoot a womp rat in Beggar's Canyon.
There's probably a story there, because we really don't know. What was his friend who went off? Biggs.
Big Starklighter.
Yeah, we don't know much about, other than his farm life, because it was probably pretty rough. I mean, you have the Tusken Raiders out there, because he was always, if you talk about in A New Hope, he was like, oh, it could be Tusken Raiders. And he's like, let's go take a look. Let's go. Right. So I'm pretty sure that he was always in some sort of trouble when he was a kid.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah.
Which is probably why when he's like, but I want to go into Tashi Station.
You can go play with your friends later.
Yeah, and Owen is just like, here we go again. You can go play with your friends
later. It doesn't even, I don't know how they could incorporate a story, but we've always been like, how can they do a story with this or whatever? Because there has to be more of a reason why when he got older, Owen was even more reluctant to let Luke be around Obi-Wan.
Well, the only reason why it would be is maybe he's starting to show characteristics of Anakin.
That could be.
Could be.
So,
and you got to try to stomp that out. I really do think there's a lot of story to tell with Leia.
Oh, I think really there's a lot left for both of them. I'm with Walt on that. I think there's a lot left for both of them.
But you know what I really think should happen? I think that there shouldn't be another Obi-Wan series.
I do. I would love an Obi-Wan series where Vader is trying to forget Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan's a thorn in his side.
Well, here's the thing.
Shadows.
Here's the thing. It shouldn't be focused on Obi-Wan. It shouldn't be called Obi-Wan. We should have
would love to see.
We should have a Darth Vader series.
I was going to say, I really would love to have a Darth Vader one, but I would take an Obi-Wan, more Obi-Wan stories at any time.
So, I know Hayden is he's kind of pushing towards a Darth Vader series. He has brought it up in conversation with the three Fs, with the Holy Trinity. So hopefully Feige, Filoni, and Favreau can see some merit in it. There's a lot that we can do with Vader. And if we get a Vader series, we see more of the growth of the Empire. And even with a Vader series, we can still have Leia in it, and we see how she's growing up in this changing galaxy. And I say keep
Leia out of it. Keep Leia out of it. And focus on Darth Vader.
And I do think by the end of this Kenobi series, it does it frees Obi-Wan from the planet.
Yeah.
So he can keep an eye on Luke, but he doesn't have to be completely
focused
there.
Focused
on
right.
Yeah,
there's so much they could do with the Vader series. I mean, we already know that the Death Star is in construction.
Right.
We already know that. We know that from the end of hold on, guys.
Hello, baby.
That does not belong in your mouth.
Yeah.
Nope, that does not belong in your mouth. And bye-bye. Nope, bye. Bye. Now to return you back to your regularly scheduled program.
Welcome to Baby Turning into Toddler. Everything goes in their mouth.
So yeah, this whole episode, we get the, kind of like the foreshadowing of the blockade runner being chased by the
right. Yeah, the Tantive 4
by the Star Destroyer,
by Vader's Star Destroyer. We already know the Death Star is in construction. How does
even though there's no mention of it, even though there's no mention of it in this whole thing, we
already know because of the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
How does Tarkin rise up the ranks to Grand Moff?
So, but let's go to the planet where
the planet of pumice.
Yes.
I think it's pumice because there's no way anybody's going to survive the hailstorm that occurred in that battle scene.
None.
It's a pumice planet.
Yeah. So
Forest rock, easy.
So,
but Beth will tell you this, but literally when I watched that scene, I got goosebumps and I immediately messaged her and I was like, "Oh my God."
And I hadn't watched it. I hadn't watched it.
She's like, "Don't tell me." And I'm like, I have goosebumps.
So when Obi-Wan leaves the you could say the refugees.
That's about the only word
to have Vader focus all of his anger on him, and stops off at this planet.
Well, the Grand Inquisitor tried to talk some sense into Vader.
Right?
Did Vader listen?
Nope.
Okay, number one, Vader should have backhanded the Grand Inquisitor for even questioning his motives.
Yes, but he didn't.
He didn't, but he should have.
He didn't.
Vader is growing in his powers, and eventually, when we see someone question Vader, we know what happens.
Yeah, but
this here Anakin guy.
But I will also add in this is that because of who he is, we're talking Darth Vader / Anakin. He knows that the Inquisitor is right in his assessment.
I know he knows he's right.
He knows he's right in his assessment.
But Vader is focused, just like Obi-Wan said. Vader is focused on the win at all costs.
Exactly.
Blinders.
Oh, he's very tunnel vision.
Right.
He's still tunnel visioned at this point.
It's that mask.
Yeah. He hasn't quite grown into that patience that we see later.
Right. So, prepare my shuttle.
Which was the lesson from the flashback in the last episode.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That was the lesson. He said, you will still be a Padawan until you can conquer this.
Right. So, then there's the prepare my shuttle. Prepare my ship.
Prepare my ship. Yeah.
Prepare my
ship. How many times has Vader said that? I will face him alone.
We could probably put together a 2-minute clip of Vader just saying, "Prepare my shuttle, prepare my ship."
Yeah. And then I
will face him alone.
I will face him alone. Oh, Vader, honestly, dude, really?
Then we switch to Reva.
Yes.
What is Reva doing? Reva is, as I called it, looking for Luke.
Yep. And again.
And I called it. She was redeemed. You're always like, maybe not.
And again, as I said, revenge can make people,
do stupid things.
Well, no, not do stupid things, but can motivate them to stay alive.
Yes. Yes.
And here we go again, having been stuck with a lightsaber for
it's really weird, but the thing is that the Grand Inquisitor pretty much knew she would survive and just said, we're going to leave you where we found you.
Yep.
In the gutter.
And that just made her anger.
So let's talk about Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru in this scene.
Aunt
Beru turns out to be a
have a respect for them
Beru.
after this little that little standoff.
Aunt Beru, yeah, that was pretty good, and you could tell that they, as forever, they were preppers. So You know, they were
Doomsday
preppers. Definitely prepper. Well, probably, you know, living on Tatooine, you almost probably have
well
to
with the raid. Well, they did say so. They probably been raided by Tusken Raiders before
all the time. Yeah.
Right.
So they have to be prepared.
So they're, you know, they have their own little panic room that they shove Luke in. They've got a stash of weapons, you know, everything. But, you know, Aunt Beru in A New Hope kind of shows a little bit of affection when she talks about Luke.
Yeah.
When she's standing there preparing the blue milk and Owen asks where Luke is. You can tell there's a little bit of affection there. And we see it in this episode. You know, she's concerned. She wants to protect this boy. It doesn't matter that this is her husband's half, you know, stepbrother's son. This is her nephew. She doesn't care. This is family. She loves him. End of sentence. And so she's like looking at Owen and going, dude, go get the guns. Hello, duh.
Yeah.
No, you know what I think the thing that's nice about the Owens, the Lars family is the fact that they don't like put Anakin onto Luke. They allow Luke to be Luke. So even though they know Anakin is bad, they don't look at Luke like, oh, you're going to be bad.
Yeah.
Right.
You get to you're Luke.
Right.
You know?
And we're gonna, you know,
you're our kid.
You're our kid.
We raise you.
We're gonna raise you.
You're not gonna do what Luke did because we're raising you. So at least they're not applying like, well, your dad is shit, so we're gonna treat you like shit.
Right.
I'm really glad they didn't do that.
I am too, because you know we see that in so many other TV shows and movies and everything, and
like Harry Potter.
Yeah,
you know,
the Dursleys, what the Dursleys did to Harry.
Dursleys did to thing. It's like, you know, we hate your parents, so we're gonna treat you like dirt.
Yeah.
Naruto.
Right.
For those of you really young and you need some good reference, if you've ever watched the anime Naruto was mistreated as a kid. So
yeah.
So I'm really glad that they're not following that formula with Luke.
Yeah, I like what they did with Owen and Beru in this series. You know, we get a little more history with them. And we find out Uncle Owen is a bit of a snarky jerk, but he wasn't wrong in what he said to Obi-Wan about Anakin.
Nope. Wasn't wrong.
And he's actually very protective of Luke.
He's very protective of Luke, yeah.
So that's a great thing.
Yeah.
His thoughts on the Jedi aren't particularly wrong either.
But that's okay because he saw his Anakin fall, or he heard about it.
Right.
You know? And then he had no loss of love for the Jedi in any fashion.
Uncle Owen is not looking at the Jedi through rose-colored glasses like most of the galaxy.
Right.
That's done. And he's seeing them for what they are.
Right.
Which is also why, basically in A New Hope, when he tells Luke, when Luke asks about Ben and asks about, he tells Luke, I'm pretty sure he died a long time ago.
Right.
Because he's just wanting to shut that line of conversation down. He doesn't want to see his nephew go the route of his father or the other Jedi.
Right.
Right. He's content.
Yeah.
Well, and considering the fact that, Beru and Owen never had kids, it was just Luke. So they kind of wanted Luke to just pick up where they left off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Just keep moisture farming and,
live a simple life. Don't get your head in the clouds, kid, which unfortunately Luke's head was always in the clouds.
In the clouds.
Boring.
But all right, so let's go back. I know that, so so we literally have two battles going on. So at the exact same time. You have Revo again versus the Lars family, and then you have Vader and Anakin.
No, Vader and Obi-Wan.
Well, in the end, it was a little bit. No. But anyways,
Anakin.
Well, there really was. I mean, we could talk about that reveal little revelation scene. But what about the battle? I mean, tell me about your battle. I mean, you literally saw Vader almost smack down, literally smashed, Super Mario Brothers, bury him underneath a bunch of rubble.
Yeah.
I saw
taking the high ground. Vader at the high ground.
I saw a great meme that kind of summed the battle up really well, and it kind of makes me chuckle because Vader made the mistake again.
Yeah.
He gave Obi-Wan the high ground, although literally this time he literally gave Obi-Wan the high ground in bits and pieces that he could throw back at him.
Right.
Well, I saw it in the very beginning of that battle. You could see that the old general was back.
Yeah.
But he was still not as powerful in the Force, because when he tried to throw that big pillar of rock down and Vader just put up his hand and stopped it, you can tell who was struggling and who was not. So you can tell who was practicing and who was not.
Right.
You could tell who was allowing themselves to access the Force fully,
right,
and who was not. Obi-Wan was still holding back.
He was holding back.
He was holding back because that's the only Obi-Wan shows. He does show us by the end of that battle. Vader buries him under all this rock. Okay, I mean these guys are knocking stuff down, throwing stuff at each other, but Vader buries him under the rocks. And again, Vader makes the mistake, turns around and walks away.
That's a mistake that Obi-Wan does and Vader does.
Yes.
So you can't blame one guy or the other. They both never finished the job.
Knowing that Anakin is Obi-Wan's Padawan, okay, where did he learn it from? He learned it from Obi-Wan. All right.
So they both constantly make this mistake.
And that's because deep down, they still care for each other.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Deep down, they still care for each other. And
so they're reluctant to basically finish the job.
Right.
I mean, let's face it. Even in A New Hope, Vader swings, but Obi-Wan's already gone.
Yep.
Well, okay. So finish off your talk about the connection of the Force.
So here's Obi-Wan, hand up, stopping the rocks from crushing them. Okay, and Dirk is absolutely correct. Obi-Wan and Anakin need each other. Yes, just like Batman and the Joker. Yes, they do. They're yin and yang. They really are yin and yang. These two.
Yes.
But we see Obi-Wan stop the rocks. Okay, I mean, come on. We all know Obi-Wan wasn't about to just get, mutilated by a bunch of rocks and buried alive.
No, they're pumice.
Because it's his show.
It's his show, yeah. and we know how Obi-Wan dies, unless they're suddenly retconning the end of Star Wars, which I think would cause a riot.
No, well, there is a tiny percentage that are rioting now that they won't kill each other. And I'm like, really?
Not for a long time.
Right, exactly.
Not for a long time.
Well, technically, they don't kill each other.
No, yeah, this is true.
One just vanishes.
One just vanishes into the Force.
Yeah.
He just lets himself go into the Force.
But they all die on a Death Star.
They all die on a Death Star.
Oddly enough.
Oddly enough, yes. There's a parallel in that too. Obi-Wan dies on the first one. Vader dies on the second one.
Yep. And the Emperor dies too.
No, we're not talking about that old creepazoid. Anyway.
By the way. So anyways, he's under the rocks.
We finally
where we finally see. Here's the thing that I think with that scene of him underneath the rocks. He realized, how he used to be so high and mighty and preaching to Anakin, do not attach yourself. No attachments, no attachments, no attachments. But the problem is Obi-Wan was attached to his past.
Right.
He was attached to the Revenge of the Sith, Mustafar, the battle on Mustafar, the destruction of the Jedi Order. He was all attached. That was all sitting on his shoulders.
Yep.
And then when the vision started coming with
you're funny, Dirk. Thanks.
It's called a Death Star.
Yeah.
So when the flash of the children come in, that's him learning what he's supposed to be focusing on.
It's deeper than that.
It goes and to me, it's when he actually connects into the living force.
It goes deeper than that even. It goes back to him. He's under these rocks. He's thinking, he's thinking back through appropriate mug there, Mariam. I love it. He's thinking back through, just training Anakin, training him from the time he was a boy and the whole 9 yards. And yes, he realizes he's gotten attached, and yes, he realizes that he has to let go of the idea that he failed Anakin.
Right.
And at that moment, yes, he connects with the living force. Whoop, there goes the rocks, and there's Anakin / Vader going, oh crap, I'm in trouble now.
Yeah. There's also a little bit of if you think back to Phantom Menace, because everybody always says that the only people who were ever able to tap into the dark side of the Force and still be on the light side of the Force was Mace Windu or whatever.
Mace Windu and Qui-Gon Jinn.
So did Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he was angry when Qui-Gon was killed.
Yes, because that's he tapped into the dark side of the Force and used that anger to kill.
And the same thing,
not kill,
to maim,
chopped in half.
Darth Maul.
He flittered down the little shaft
to
and
defeat.
Got a new pair of legs.
We'll compromise and say to defeat Darth Maul.
Yeah.
So we see the same thing. We see the same thing here. Yeah. It's a little bit of the same thing here, because he's, even though he's letting go of what he did in the past, he's still upset that he still essentially failed. But you've got to use that as a motivator to move forward as well. So, and you got to be angry at yourself for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
but what Obi-Wan did in his frustration and angry, he buried it, cut himself off from the Force.
Right.
He didn't do what Vader did, was lean into it. He literally cut himself off, and he's like, I'm not worthy of any of this. Stop it.
Right. So, but that still plays a factor into him letting go. So you got to use it. You've got to use both sides at some point or another. So,
and that's actually the point of the living force. The living force is kind of that gray Jedi area where you can pull from both sides without losing yourself.
Right. So, but then, we also see, this is Obi-Wan cutting loose. We've never seen
Obi-Wan cut loose like
this. We've never seen Obi-Wan. We've never even really seen Yoda cut loose when you think about it.
I mean, even when Obi-Wan was fighting Dooku at the end of Clone Wars, where Anakin does lose the arm, that's the closest to cutting loose that we've ever seen. This is on a whole new scale. He didn't even cut loose like this against Grievous.
We're talking like Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah. No, that's because I think when he connected into the living force, it actually enhanced it much more, but it's a more positive flow for him that allowed him to become more powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He lifted those rocks, and that actually kind of made me I loved seeing Obi-Wan when he just raised his hand and all the rocks. It was like a Yoda moment and stuff like that. But then
he didn't struggle.
He didn't struggle one bit, and he knew exactly what he was going to do. And then he belted Vader with all of it. Of course, it pissed me off because it's like raised like dog and deer in the dog, like, whatever deer look with her doing it. But Obi-Wan was you could just tell he's in full form. And then he changed. So here's the thing, the reason why, when you said we've never seen him fight like this, he changed forms. Because he's normally a certain form, and that form is what Anakin knows. That's why they're so well matched, because Obi-Wan knows how Anakin fights, Anakin knows how Obi-Wan fights, and they're kind of like they're like equals within that. Right. But suddenly he changed styles. He became not a defensive. He became
an offensive.
And then Anakin just had no idea how to handle that because he's never seen that out of him.
Right. Exactly, because like always, they were always taught for defense.
Dirk said it too. I was like, woohoo!
I'm pretty sure there was a collective that. Yes,
yeah.
Dirk, you're right.
Actually, that's not what I said. First, I was like, oh
that's what I said.
No, I was like,
and then I yelled, Vader, you better run.
And then that was followed with a damn.
And then I was like, and then I thought, this planet is made of pumice because all those rocks pelting Vader. It's one thing if he put up a force bubble around him. He was being pelted, and they were just like shattering and obliterating. I'm like, this is pumice, but enough damage to definitely make him go, uh-oh, I'm not sure what I'm in for.
Yeah.
I've never seen, or he's probably thinking, if I was Anakin and if Obi-Wan was my master, I'd be like, oh God, he's really pissed now.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an epic fight because we've always wanted to see how aggressive Darth Vader fights, and Darth Vader was very, very.
Vader was always aggressive, yeah.
Very aggressive. I mean, more aggressive than Anakin ever was.
Yeah.
And this also takes us back to Rogue One, that last scene in Rogue One. So yeah, this was a great build up to that, and we got to see the lightsaber duel we've always wanted to see between
and Obi-Wan went right for his support system.
Yep.
Took him out.
And we get Obi-Wan slicing open the helmet,
which is Ahsoka and Ahsoka with Vader.
Yeah. So, and then we got the one important line from Darth Vader. When Darth Vader says that, tells Obi-Wan that he's not the one who killed Anakin, that he himself was the one who killed Anakin.
What he says is, I am not your failure. You were not the one that killed Anakin. I did.
Right.
Did you see that smirk when he said that? He goes, I did.
That? I typed to Mariam. I said, "Here, just have it. Here's my heart.
Here's my heart on a platter.
Here you go, Sissy. Take it. I don't need any more. That's like, what?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, man, come on."
And that's the reference to Obi-Wan telling Luke he killed your father.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now that we're here at the mass thing, Obi-Wan started doing those thrusting moves.
Obi-Wan started doing those thrusting moves with the saber. That was very unusual and awesome. I thought finally Obi-Wan was getting his moment. I've waited 5 decades. Yes, sir, we all have.
That is so true. The moment he changed and became offensive, that was the end. And Anakin was just like, I have not seen this before, and I'm not prepared.
We saw Obi-Wan do to Anakin what Anakin did to Dooku at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
We also what Darth Vader did to Luke in Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. That total just beat down and just going and going and going.
Yep.
Which, of course, that's why we were shocked, because we've never seen Obi-Wan be like that either.
Yeah.
Then it was awesome.
Yep.
It was glorious.
I went back and I watched that whole duel about 3 times because it was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was just really fun to watch.
I need somebody to take all of Obi-Wan's duels, lightsaber duels, with or without Anakin, and just put them all together in just one long video for me. Because even watch that over and over again.
Even the Grievous duel. Even the Grievous duel.
Even the Grievous duel. But they would have to include him hanging off the ledge and shooting him with the blaster, and then standing up and throwing the blaster away.
But I will still argue. I will still argue that my favorite duel so far as lightsaber duels, is Ahsoka versus Darth Maul.
That was That went from season 7. Oh man, that was amazing.
I had, but the hairs on my arms were standing up during that whole thing.
That was amazing. I will definitely put this duel in my top favorites.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So
definitely.
It's never going to top the Battle of the Heroes duel from Revenge of the Sith. It will never top Obi-Wan and the original Obi-Wan and Vader. The original Obi-Wan.
We might have a difference of opinion on this one.
In my opinion, it will never top that.
I will say that one. I'll give you that one mainly for length.
For length, that's true. It was a very intense, long fight, and it's got a lot of pretty amazing moves in there.
Knowing the behind the scenes of that fight, knowing the fact that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor practiced that entire sequence so much that they knew it by heart and they were able to film it in one take, real time.
One take.
We'll always keep that at the top because that is some serious next level dedication to your craft and to your characters.
They were bringing some of those moves back into this. Last fight, you recognize some of those moves.
You could see.
I will say this one was done in one take as well.
I would almost guarantee it was, knowing those two. They probably practiced it as soon as
it was amazing.
As soon as they asked Hayden, "Will you come back and play Vader?" and he said yes, I'll guarantee you those two started.
Yeah,
They were probably like you and me with our battles. Come on, Hayden! Anyways, I want to go back to Vader when Vader is revealing who killed Anakin. Did you notice the light play on Vader's face?
Yes.
That light play, I think, shows who's Anakin and who's Vader.
I was gonna bring that up too. I was gonna bring that up too because lighting it throughout the whole series, lighting, especially when it came to the saber duels, was just phenomenal. I mean, even let's go back to what is it, episode or chapter 4 when Leia was captured and Obi-Wan went to rescue her. The room was lit red, but then there's this blue lightsaber in that. How awesome was that? I mean,
right?
There's
a lot of that.
There's a lot of that throughout this whole series.
Yeah, exactly.
Red
so
room,
the light play was kind of it was kind of the cue for the viewer who's paying attention. It's like when it was it's almost like Anakin came out trying to tell Obi-Wan that it's not your fault.
Right.
And it's that self-loathing, but then you can see Vader just the red just start to come in and overtake, and then it's like I did.
Right. Right.
It was pretty and it was pretty powerful, and it broke my heart to see Obi-Wan apologize. I think Ewan played that emotional scene amazingly, where he apologized.
Yeah.
It was at that point with Vader that we knew Anakin was completely gone.
Yes.
Whatever was left of Anakin in that suit, he's gone. And we won't. He's buried somewhere in.
I will say the majority of Anakin.
Yeah, he's buried.
Well, no, he's not. Anakin isn't gone because the Emperor felt it,
right,
and threatened Vader. He made a threat.
Because the fact that he's wanting to pursue Obi-Wan Kenobi means that Anakin is not fully gone.
He's not fully gone. He's there, but he's so buried.
But the other thing also is that it's Anakin still being inside is still a threat, but yet as a Sith, Vader is going to have to get rid of Kenobi in order to fully jump that hill.
Yeah.
And
actually, to become a full Sith, he has to kill his master in order to become a full Sith. Right. Which means technically, Vader does not become a full Sith ever.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Because he does not kill Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan disappears before he can take that final blow.
Right. And there are also people who are talking about how this breaks the rule of two. But then again, nobody stops to think about that before the rule of two, that there were many Sith. So, the
rule of two is like an era for the Sith.
Right.
And Palpatine kind of was continuing it, but if you look at Sith lore, the rule of two was never always there.
Right.
Well, and if people are saying that they're breaking the rule of two because of the Inquisitors, technically not. They're just Dark Jedi.
They're just Dark Jedi who are serving Vader.
Who are serving the dark side. So technically, they're not Sith.
They're not Sith.
There's a lot more.
They're Dark Jedi. They literally call them Dark Jedi.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's a lot more within Sith lore that we're not, that most people are not seeing unless you've played games or have done Star Wars RPGs where you've actually read a lot of the still canon source material that defines Sith.
Right.
Probably not surprising to anybody. I still RPG, and I have played a Sith, on tabletop gaming with my husband, and everything. And there is a ton of lore that the Inquisitors would never qualify to become Sith. Without certain things that need to be done. So at this point right now, they are just Dark Jedi. So they're not breaking the rule of two.
So let's continue this Inquisitor storyline and go over to Reva.
Right.
Reva. She is bound and determined to find the kid, if for no other reason than to piss off Obi-Wan.
Right. No, not just piss off Obi-Wan, but also get revenge on Vader.
So do you think she knows that Luke is his son?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the main reason. That was the main reason, because
to get revenge.
Get revenge, and she would get her revenge on both Kenobi and Darth Vader at one time. That's my theory. That's my educated guess. Because Kenobi's protecting Luke.
I got to go back and watch the message that she saw, that broken message from Bail.
Right.
She knows the kid's involved somehow.
Right. Because the message, the message is, I think when it was broken, was that something about protecting the boy from him. That's what he said. He can't learn about him or something.
Right.
Because
that's why I was wondering, does she connect the two?
Right. Because he also mentions Owen Lars. So there's the connection right there. So but in that message, Leia was cut out because the message was broken.
Yeah.
So had she heard about Leia, she probably would have gone after Leia first.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's.
So she goes after him. She is, at least very apparently still injured.
Yes.
So
she's using that hate. Hate's a great motivator.
Even a wounded Inquisitor is a dangerous Inquisitor.
Right. Like I said,
like a wounded animal.
Like the Inquisitor said, the Grand Inquisitor said, that revenge is a great motivator to stay alive. So,
right. She kind of took that to heart. Very much. Oh, well, it's the second time she's taken it to heart. But it's always been her motivator. It's always been her motivator. So she's pursuing. She has a battle. I think the Lars do a pretty good job, at least holding her off for as long as they can.
You're right.
But so I think the thing is that Reva's really good at reading minds and emotions, and she's like, you really love him even though he's not yours. Right. And Owen's like, yes.
Of course.
He is mine.
Right.
Literally. And she kind of doesn't fully get this because she's so filled with this idea of everybody. Nobody came to save her. Right. Nobody came and helped her. She thought she was going to be saved by Anakin and was betrayed and skewered.
And then And then she
skewered a second time.
And then she got skewered a second time.
And then, you know, that first time she's like, well, why didn't you come to help us, Obi-Wan? You know, why didn't
not
you
knowing that he was, you know, fighting Grievous and being, you know, attacked over there.
Yeah. But he did make it back to the temple.
Right.
Eventually.
Right.
But she wasn't there when he got there.
No, because she's already gotten away somehow.
Right.
You know. So she goes and she battles and she finds him and then she force throws him off the cliff. You know. And now he's unconscious. And she's about to extract her revenge.
And then
can't do it.
And then she can't do it.
She can't do it. Because she has flashbacks of what happened to her and her friends in the temple. Okay. And she's flashing back and she knows it's Anakin that did it, but yet at the same time, she cannot bring herself to kill this innocent child.
Right.
Because she's right now mirroring Anakin. So now she's in Anakin's shoes.
Right.
Exactly.
And that lends to the question, her asking Obi-Wan when he finally sees her, have I become him?
Have I become him? Yeah.
And he says no, because you couldn't do what he did.
He said you didn't because you showed mercy.
Yep.
So.
Now, you know, the thing is through this whole thing, as I rewatched the whole thing with Reva's story, and I actually really liked her story. She was the unknown, and you could sniff out the redemption arc from the very beginning.
Definitely.
Very, very apparent. But how she was redeemed. And I actually thought that it was nice that there was actually a solid storyline behind her, you know, to bring her to where she is. It wasn't like any sort of thing is like, well, that's stupid. It's just suddenly you're good now. No, she literally had to go on this journey, which was a very compelling journey. The thing I did notice that all the Inquisitors, even in this movie or show, all the dark users plus Vader all had, you know, the Grand Inquisitor, the other two, they all had red eyes, but Reva never had red eyes.
She never had the red eyes.
So she never embraced fully.
She's never completely embraced the dark side.
Yes.
Right.
And probably because from the beginning, Reva was on a mission. She was on the mission to find Obi-Wan, to confront Obi-Wan, and then to take her revenge on Vader.
To use that as a to get revenge on Vader.
Yeah. I don't, you know.
That's the reason why.
To save herself. Okay. She agreed to become an Inquisitor, to work with Vader to save herself so that she could grow in her own powers in enough time to be able to kill him later.
Right.
See how well that worked out for her, though.
Hence the reason why.
Oh my God, I cannot believe she's fighting him with a lightsaber and he doesn't have a lightsaber and still kicked her butt.
Right. And this is the reason. This is the reason why Darth Vader knew what she was up to.
I think he's always known.
Oh yeah.
He's always known. He just used it to his advantage.
Right. And that's what he said. What makes you think I didn't know what your plans are?
Oh yeah. And the worst thing is he told the truth when he told her that Obi-Wan used her.
Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody was using Reva.
Right. Everybody was.
And so I mean, that doesn't. So Obi-Wan's not like pure innocent over here. He used.
Right.
He used it, even though Obi-Wan's like, "I'm going to bring you what you want."
Right.
Yeah.
But he used her.
Right.
To get what he wants.
Which was to get away.
Yeah.
Right.
He used her to get away.
Yep.
Right.
So, she knew it. She knew.
I mean, so in that way, you have a bit of compassion for her, but at the same time, it's like you made your decisions, you know.
Yeah, you're the one who decided to do this. You could have just, you know. I mean, she says, "I laid there with the other younglings.
I felt their bodies go cold.
Until I felt their bodies go cold." She could have gotten up and just took off, gone somewhere else, and just not even bothered. But she didn't. She made a conscious choice to go with Vader. To go with Anakin and become an Inquisitor.
Yep.
So I really am actually I enjoy her. I really do enjoy her arc, actually. You know.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy her arc. So I really would love to see her story continue. You know, I don't know if she. You know, I really don't know. Is she going to walk a fine line between dark and light. I don't know where she's going to go. Is she going to become like, the Quinos Vaughn or something? I'm not sure where they would go with her, but I would like to see her story continue.
I think by redeeming her, they may have knocked out any chance of turning her into a Star Killer type character. Which is where at first I thought they might have been going with her, but we could still see it. I don't know.
We could still see it. I was thinking that same kind of thing. I thought she was like, there was a special reason, but then it just ended up being that he's using her to get what he wants, because that's the other thing. It's like, nobody knows. There's only a handful of people that know that Anakin is Vader.
Yeah.
Right.
Obi-Wan, Yoda, Palpatine, because they saw him kneel and become Vader.
Owen
knows.
Owen and Beru. There's probably, if they're still around, a handful of clones. Ahsoka knows.
Well, we know Rex is still.
Ahsoka knew after we're in a long way into Rebels.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, Ahsoka knew at the end of the Clone Wars.
Clone Wars.
No,
Yeah.
I think she felt. I don't think she knew that Anakin was Vader. She felt Anakin fall. She didn't know that he was Vader until Rebels, but she felt him fall.
I think she knew because she left her lightsabers there that he gave her. The
original lightsabers that were given to her by Anakin Skywalker, she left on that planet when she, that last.
Okay, but then that doesn't make sense to her surprise in Rebels of her discovering that it's Vader, that it's Anakin.
I think she's always known. I just think that she was shocked to just actually see it. Face to face.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch it and see, because I know she felt him. I know she felt something was wrong. I know she felt him fall.
Yeah.
But I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew he was Vader. I don't think she knew that he was Vader.
As close as Ahsoka was, I really think one of the reasons why Ahsoka walked away in the first place was because she felt Anakin start to change, even that far back. And she was
just got done being falsely accused.
Yeah, she was falsely accused. She was disillusioned with the Jedi. She could feel her master starting to change in a way that probably wasn't very good. And she was just like, nope, peace out. I'm done.
She was disillusioned that they didn't do enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then the other part is like, so just going back to the whole dark side with Anakin, it's like anybody who would have potentially have known that Anakin was Vader probably was killed.
Yep.
By Anakin. So there was literally, when Reva survived seeing Anakin as Vader before he was in a suit, she would be a very rare person.
So the one clone trooper that we saw on the planet early in the series.
Yeah, but I think the only clone troopers are the people who fought directly around him.
That was a member of the 501st.
That was a 501st member.
It's speculated that that's actually Rex.
Yeah. That's what the speculation is. I don't know what the answer is. I would love to know. It was a nice little
Rex is still alive.
I completely missed it. I had to go back and watch it a second time.
At this point,
they're
Rex
right.
is still alive. So you kind of get the inference that that's Rex on this planet. And here you got a clone trooper out in the middle of nowhere panhandling. I mean, one that tells you a lot about what happened to the clone troopers after Order 66.
Do you think he recognized Obi-Wan?
Yes.
He may have, because there was a deep stare between the two of them.
I know, but I think Obi-Wan recognized him. Yeah. Which, if we get a season 2, we could potentially get that. We could potentially get Rex. Tamora Morrison has already said, "You want me to come back and play any of the Clone Troopers? I'll come back and play the Clone Troopers."
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back and play Rex.
I would love to see him come back and play Rex in The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that would be great fun to have him come back and play Rex in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, he could. He's literally Tamora. I think is like the only actor that can literally play like 100 different characters in Star Wars and be okay.
He'll be fine. Yeah, because
they're all clones of him.
Right.
So like Bradley Baker, the voice artist for all of the clones in Clone Wars and Rebels and Bad Batch. I mean, if you look at the names on Bad Batch, it's all Bradley Baker.
Right. Imagine having to keep track of 6 different voices.
Right.
Oh my God.
6 different voices.
More than that, because we've seen other clones pop up in Bad Batch.
But I'm saying in this show, in just this show.
Lord, right?
So
it's like, wait a minute, which character am I shooting today? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think about what do you guys think about the ending?
The ending, let's see. Honestly, as much as I love Leia's character, we don't really need to see Leia anymore. This is just my personal opinion.
I think where they left Leia was a good spot.
To just leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved the Leia character. I really did.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see any more of Leia. Let's not spoil Leia.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not ruin the character by something more with her. Let's leave her be.
We got
a good glimpse of her childhood. It's established how she knows Obi-Wan.
Right.
Other than just, my father served you in the Clone Wars. No, she has a personal connection with Obi-Wan. Let's leave Leia alone.
I'd like to see a little bit of Luke now, and then move on from Luke.
Yeah.
And if in the future they want to do Leia, let's do little bits and pieces, like in the background, Leia getting into the Senate, all that kind of stuff. But as far as doing more stories about Leia, I don't want to see anymore. Let's not ruin it.
I think if we were to get a Vader series.
Oh, I want a Vader. I really want a Vader series with Hayden.
Leia, we hear about Leia
with Hayden and James Earl Jones. We need both of them. They must do another one, and we need more Obi-Wan, and do it now while they can still do it.
And we know with the CGI capabilities that they have, we saw them turn actor. Oh, good Lord! I just lost his name.
Mark Hamill?
No, Scorpius.
Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne Pegram. We've seen them with the CGI. We've already seen them turn Wayne Pegram into Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah.
So we could have a Grand Moff Tarkin. Let's get Wayne Pegram back, man.
Is so much more advanced than what we saw in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So it could be more realistic instead of feeling very wooden.
Yeah, so Wayne Pegram would be a great base for the character. He's already got the stature, similar facial structure to Peter Cushing. He would be perfect in that role. And then I just want to see highlights of Leia's life where where it needles the Empire.
Yeah, we don't like I said,
we don't need anything more.
We don't need to see a story focused on Leia.
We've had that already.
I want a story with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon.
Yeah, I would definitely say that if there's going to be a second season, there's going to be more Qui-Gon involved.
Yes.
So, I mean, I would love to do a second season, not necessarily with Vader, but Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and maybe helping surviving Jedi, and let us get Mace back. I'm just
that's been a big talking point there. Mace Windu is still alive,
and who is the loudest one on those talking points? Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be a good story. Where
I mean, well, at least because he mentions what is his name, Quinlan Voss on the wall.
Voss.
Yeah.
So he mentioned him. So there's a story there too, with him hooking back up with him.
perfect actor for Quinlan Vos is if you guys watched Black Sails, there was an actor in Black Sails, that pirate TV show, Blackbeard, named Zach McGowan. This dude looks like what Quinlan Vos would look like in real life.
Wow.
He would be a perfect Quinlan Vos.
But I would love to see that story of them, showing. I mean, and here, because it probably is easy to just talk away that, when everybody's talking about the Jedi being extinct, but, we obviously know that there's a whole underground system.
They said near extinct.
Near extinct, yeah.
Yeah, so there's this whole underground system of helping them. I would love
to
see
a good story.
More about that, and then the new stories that can. So if you want to use legacy character like an Obi-Wan and a Quinlan, and push the story into a new direction, you could literally launch it from right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think they would have mentioned it if they didn't have some sort of plans to do something with it.
I hope so.
I think this.
I really want more.
Yeah, the name dropping of Quinlan Vos, seeing the underground, basically the Underground Railroad of the Jedi. I don't think they would have made this a fairly major plot plan if they didn't have something in mind for it. Because while we're seeing what looks like the beginning of the rebellion, we're not there yet. So
no, this is just the seeds.
Yeah,
there's nothing. There's no rebellion yet.
Yeah, there's got to be more to why they brought in the whole storyline about smuggling Jedi, to Jabeam and getting them off of Jabeam and everything, and getting them.
There's a whole platform
there's
there.
Something more there, yeah.
There's a whole platform there to launch a new storyline away from the Skywalkers.
Which is where they're wanting to go. They're trying to move away from the Skywalker family at this point, and there's so much that they can do with this.
I see the beginnings of the rebellion with O'Shea's character when he
with Rokan, yeah.
When he responded with "I'm just getting started" as far as leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I got a feeling he is the spark that starts the rebellion.
Probably.
He just may be the one.
Well, think about it. It's true. I actually like where you're going with this because he's obviously flying the ship to deliver Leia back to Bail, and Bail is the beginning. He's the one that kind of helps organize all of that.
Yeah,
right.
With Fulcrum.
Bail, and Mon Mothma, and Akbar, and there's a couple of others that are all involved.
So,
in that. Yeah,
I think there's a perfect connection right there.
Yeah.
So but if Star Wars is trying to move, if they're trying to move away from the Skywalker stories, this would be the proper launch.
Yes.
I think with moving it away. Unfortunately, I think the way that the sequel trilogy tried to launch into a new era, it was so convoluted. People got a little weird.
It was very convoluted.
I think this way would be a nice way to veer off away from the Skywalkers because you're using Obi-Wan as the catalyst to move it forward. Just like Grogu is kind of like the catalyst forward. Now we're going to get the Mandalore storyline. We're going to get, and who knows where Grogu is going to go. Is he going to be the second Jedi / Mandalore,
Right.
So Dirk brings up a good idea that they need to have the guts to go several hundred or thousands of years forward or backwards to introduce new characters entirely.
I think they already are planning that.
Yeah.
I think they're planning on going back.
They've already planning that. They're doing, I think, a live version of like the High Republic, which is a couple hundred years or 1,000 years
before.
Yeah. So they're already doing that.
I got into this conversation with my husband after we watched this finale. Again, there is so much out there that could have been used that would have brought better bad guys into the forefront where the sequel trilogies are concerned. And unless they're going to completely retcon that trilogy and get it completely out of the Star Wars timeline, I don't see any sense in them going forward into the future with it.
I think that they should totally. I mean, I think the characters all had potential. I think Poe had potential. Finn had potential. I think they all had
Ray
potential.
had potential.
It just the storyline just went to whole who knows where.
It was one of those things where they started off good. Okay, so we're gonna rehash everything that we've seen before. I'm okay with that, but we've got to go someplace different to the second episode,
right?
And then it was like, okay, so here's what this one guy did for the first story. Now you make something up for the second story. And the second person was just like, oh, that first story, we're just going to throw that all out the window and we're just going to make something up.
Right. What I would like to see is keep.
Or we're going to take an important character potential and let's just forget about it.
Right.
Keep the first story. Keep the first story. And if you want to nitpick something out of Legends or out of what is no longer canon, grab a bad guy like the Yuuzhan Vong. The Yuuzhan Vong are immune to the Force. That shuts Rey and Kylo Ren down completely. That shuts any Force user down completely. The entire rebellion the entire New Republic had to figure out how to fight these invaders from outside the galaxy that have, they're not affected by the Force. You can't use the Force on them. And they're nasty. And they're bad. And they would have made a tremendously better bad guy and for better storytelling, because then you've got Sith and Jedi looking at each other and going, crap, how do we fight these guys?
So they're immune to lightsabers?
They're not immune to lightsabers, but they're immune to Force powers.
Well, yeah, so they can't be Force thrown, Force pushed, Force mind trick.
Nope. You never got that far into the book series, did you, sis?
No, I never did.
Yeah.
You told me about it. You told me about it, but it's kind of like what's that dude's name from Anakin's slave owner? What is his name?
Jabba.
No.
Flying
guy with the flappy wings.
Watto.
He doesn't. Mind tricks don't work on him.
Yeah, the Yuuzhan Vong were like that, and they were also very much into everything organic. So they were a very, very interesting, Lucas approved bad guy that would have made for a better storyline in the sequel trilogies than what we got.
Yeah, but the problem is the people who did the sequels were just like,
the people who did the sequels didn't care.
They were like, no, I think they cared, but they were like, let's push the envelope. Let's make this edgy. Let's make this something new. And then they literally rehashed A New Hope.
They didn't make it edgy and they didn't make it new.
I think it's worse than that.
Yeah, it's way worse.
It's way worse than that because, like I said, episode, what was it, 7? I didn't mind episode 7. Wasn't bad. It was a good introduction to characters.
It was a good start. Yeah,
it was a good start. It was a great start. Everybody enjoyed it, and then you had the next movie. And when you walked out of the movie theater, you were like, WTF, what were you trying to do here?
I know, it's like, what just happened? This is not the Luke Skywalker I know.
Well, it's not even that.
But those are like questions that are running in your head.
I didn't mind the dejected Luke Skywalker. What's the problem was this whole little side story trying to find this person who had all these clues.
Oh, yeah, and then it ended up being nothing.
And it ended up being nothing.
That whole area could have just been cut out of the storyline, and it wouldn't have made a difference to the final ending.
Right, and it was totally useless to the story. And then you had the Snoke
just destroying your bad guy, and then it's like, well, now what are we going to do? We killed our bad guy in the last movie.
Oh, hey, let's make Kylo Ren the real bad guy. Let's make him super bad.
And it's like, what? Huh?
All I know is that the opening of the Rise of Skywalker with Kylo Ren hunting down those people, that was the Kylo Ren I thought we should have gotten in the first sequel.
And you know what? That scene pissed me off.
Why did that scene piss you off?
The way it was filmed. That scene pissed me off.
There was a lot of there's mistakes and mishaps, and
when I was watching the one where they're basically going through the cloning facility looking for Palpatine, basically, I looked at Dan and I said, I'm done watching this already. He's like, it's 5 minutes into the movie. I said, yeah. I said, I'm done watching this. I said, I'm done watching them nitpick and cherry pick what they want out of the books and
with no explanation.
With no explanation and botching it up.
With no explanation.
Because if they were going to do that, okay.
How many books have they written to try to explain what they were trying to do?
I don't know.
It's like stupid. It's like you don't use books to explain your loophole, your
loopholes for your movies. No, you don't do that.
You don't do that.
I think that's why, for me, Obi-Wan was so refreshing.
Yeah.
Why Mandalorian has been refreshing. Why with all its faults, Book of Boba Fett was refreshing, because they're not rehashing the same stuff. They're not cherry picking out of the books that are no longer canon. And they're bringing us fresh stories,
right?
And they're doing it in the style that George Lucas did it in.
Okay? Exactly.
The fact that Jon Favreau has actually come out and said, hey, I've gone and talked to George about these TV shows because, he's the one that built this world. I need his opinion. I need his thoughts on it. I want to know where he wanted to go with this. That gives me hope that eventually we're going to get, more of this good content. I really do feel, though, that they need to get away from the Skywalkers at this point.
I absolutely agree. I love Mark Hamill, and I love, it's Skywalker saga, but I'm ready to launch. The reason why I know I'm ready to launch to something new other than Skywalker is because I am so attached to the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Well,
and also,
so yes, there's room to bring engaging characters.
We now know, thanks to the TV show Obi-Wan, we now know there are other Jedi still out there.
Right. And the other thing is, if you want to stick to the realm of the Star Wars we know, I would love to see, like for instance, Bad Batch. It's still the Star Wars we know, but it's other characters in that whole, in the
same timeline.
It's other characters. I would love to see.
It's a great show.
That's why I think it would be great for Obi-Wan to launch into finding the other Jedi and then moving that story forward. But it's not about Vader, Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker.
Right.
It's about these people surviving this purge.
Just like
Vader is always going to be there in the background.
Yeah, always.
Jedi story. Okay,
right.
he is.
But he doesn't have to be the focus.
Yeah,
exactly.
Vader and the Empire are our bad guys, and they're always going to be prevalent in the background of any Jedi story, and that's fine, as long as we're not focusing on again the Skywalker family.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we could. I know this is an unpopular opinion by a lot of people. I love Solo.
I did too.
I like Solo.
I absolutely loved Solo, and I
like Solo.
Yeah, I'm ready for the Solo sequel.
I really want to see the Darth. That's the crime syndicate. I really want to know where that's going.
I want to see Tales of the Mos Eisley Cantina. That book was a book of short stories, all about the different denizens in the Mos Eisley Cantina, including the smugglers that were coming in and out of Tatooine.
Yep. I'm ready to see. I'm ready to see a Solo sequel.
I would like it.
I
mean, I was really bummed because the Solo movie came out after the second, whatever was it, The Last Jedi? I don't know what was what was the second movie?
Oh,
the sequels.
Whatever.
That's the movie that ruined it for
time.
Solo.
Right,
Yeah.
and that movie literally
ruined it.
Solo.
It
the Solo was actually good.
Solo was good.
I really loved the Kessel Run. Did you guys love the Kessel
the
Run?
Kessel Run
I love the Kessel Run.
We were supposed to get a Rogue One movie. We're not getting that, about the Rogue One Squadron, Wedge and Hobby and all of them.
Yeah.
We're not getting that now because, again, those sequel trilogies, just made people go, bleh. and walk away.
There was an article that was out this weekend that said Rogue One could be Star Wars Top Gun movie. And they're absolutely right.
It could.
Yes,
because
it could.
if there's one thing that a lot of people, one of the things that got people into Star Wars were the space battles.
Yes.
And
yeah, they could totally do it. It's like the books. Didn't they have an X-Wing squad book?
The Rogue One series. Yeah, there was something like 11 or 12 books.
So those, absolutely.
So,
it's like there's so much interest in the Mandalorians, and we're going to Mandalore with Mandalorian. You could totally do that with,
one of these days,
and I think they could literally launch it
for everybody to see. Okay, because y'all wonder why I'm so mad. I have probably all but about 10 of those books that Disney just said, no. And there's about 70 or 80 of them.
Yeah. I mean,
I've read all of them.
Actually, I see Rogue One not so much as, well, it could be a movie. You could do a movie, but you could also do a series. And every time I think about it, I think of Baba Black Sheep. I think of the Black Sheep.
Yes, but in space. Baba Black Sheep in space. And Wedge is the perfect Pappy Boyington character.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's what I see,
and
that's fine. That's fine. I don't care if I date myself.
I think it's great. I think I just feel like the Star Wars universe is big enough for all of these stories. It's not, so let's get off as much as I think there's more stories with Vader. I think there's more stories with Obi-Wan. There's actually more stories, but we really need
Obi-Wan
the Mandalorian. We really need to do the Andors. We really need to do the High Republic. We really do need
the Ahsokas.
The Ahsokas. Going to Grand Thrawn. Get us away from the Skywalker.
Give me Grand Admiral Thrawn. Come on.
I got a feeling after watching the Ahsoka episode in The Mandalorian, which was straight up a samurai movie.
Oh yeah.
I hope that whole series is very much based off of samurai, the Ronin samurai.
I know a lot of people were questioning her as Ahsoka, and she knocked it out of the park.
Oh, she did great.
I will be honest. I will be honest with you. When they thought about doing Ahsoka as a live action series, Rosario Dawson was the first person that popped in my mind because she looked like Ahsoka. She looks like Ahsoka, and then the next thing you know, she's like, "I want to play Ahsoka," and they're like, "You know what? You should play Ahsoka." I was like, "Oh my god, sign me up!"
And she's fantastic.
Sign me up, because I'm a huge Rosario Dawson. I've been a fan of Rosario Dawson.
The first time I heard about her doing it, I was like, "Oh my god, the Men in Black girl!"
It goes back further. It goes back further.
I know, but that's where I met her, was in the Men in Black. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, how cool!"
Even further back.
Surprised to see, and then I was surprised to see her
further back.
I know, but then I was surprised to see her in.
Oddly enough, a certain magazine.
Oh, I have no idea. No idea.
That would be Playboy.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I definitely have no idea. No wonder I didn't know.
Back in the probably late, I would say 89. I want to say 89, maybe 90.
I think, yeah.
It was like 89 or 90. That's where that was her big break.
Oh, I had no idea. I just saw her.
And now you know, as the old saying goes, and now you know the rest of the story.
Now I know the rest of the story. I was like surprised to see her in Daredevil, so I was like, so when she was like, "Okay, here we are."
Yeah. So
I
forgot the first.
I was like, "That's cool."
I forgot the first movie though. She was in Sin City.
Right.
She was in Sin City, but she was also in the Clerks sequel, Clerks 2.
I've never seen that, so I don't know.
Because my favorite line is that it's a train wreck that you just can't turn away from.
Right. So true.
But yeah, I forgot the first movie she was in. I was like, wow, she's a really good actress. But
totally.
Anyway.
Well, I'm glad that she's Ahsoka. I mean, I'm really excited to see stories.
So,
I mean, I was like, I'm actually excited to see, because I even though I'm not fond of the ending of Rogue One, I really love the movie.
That's it, Dirk.
I love in the trance. But I really love Rogue One. So now to see Andor coming out, I'm actually kind of excited. I mean, so I'm like going, is this the show that I didn't know I needed? Let's see.
Yeah. So, final thoughts?
Well, before you go any further, funny thing is I remember Rosario Dawson in the Josie and the Pussycats movie.
Oh, I don't talk about that.
A girl who wanted to watch that.
That's the one movie I don't talk about.
I truly remember her from was that she was in Shattered Glass with Hayden Christensen. That's where I know Rosario Dawson.
Wow. And that's where the connection between her and where you see a lot of those pictures of her and Hayden together.
It's from Shattered Glass.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts, Mariam?
I personally really, I loved how I love the entire series. I loved the whole thing. I thought it was in the beginning when you're watching it, it felt more like a drama than it felt like a Star Wars show. But as it started building and picking up steam, you started getting the Star Wars feel. But it was kind of nice that change, because it was necessary arc for Obi-Wan to go from where he was after the fall of the Jedi and his feeling kind of like he feels responsible for the destruction of the Jedi and the fall of Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that guilt, and he's tasked to keep an eye on Luke. Plus, they're all being hunted. So he just kind of like said, nope, Force over, gone, just a normal dude.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing him from the lowest place that he could possibly be in his at that point of the movie, and then moving forward. So I really love the development. So I really love all the storyline developments. What I wanted to bring up, so I personally loved everything. I love that final battle. To me, is one of the best battles I've ever seen. And I thought it was great, and I have really kind of no complaints. But so I told you guys I did watch the entire series with a friend of mine, and he totally loved everything about the storyline, but he called it the Ewok ending. It was just too light of an ending. It was too neat and tidy. So you started with this entire drama of the series, and he's like, it should have just ended when Vader tells Obi-Wan that he's not the one that killed him. Vader killed him. He's like, it should have just ended right there and then start season 2. So he wants more stories, but he wanted the cliffhanger instead of a complete. Yeah, I spoiled him by watching Farscape.
Oh, we got the cliffhanger though.
He wanted the cliffhanger, and he didn't want the neat and tidy ending. He said, he goes, let's leave Reva where she was. Do we know if what is she going to do with Luke? Leave, them right there in the middle of the battle. So when you come back in season 2, you're right there in that space. And then you get a whole bunch of stories to clean it out. So he thought it ended too quick.
No, we still got the cliffhanger, because we got at the end Darth Vader still wanting to pursue after Kenobi, and Palpatine putting the brakes on it.
Right.
And we all know that Darth Vader's probably not going to put the brakes on it.
Yeah.
Because we still have the Inquisitors. So right. I don't see that. Plus,
so you're okay with how the ending is?
I'm okay with how it ended. And
he just thought it was too neat and tidy. It wasn't, because there's such a huge drama.
It needed to be
bringing it up.
It needed to be neat and tidy, because the plan was to not do a second season.
Yeah.
The original plan was to not do a second season, and if it didn't end there, we would have to delve more into Leia, and I don't want to see any more of Leia, because I'm fine with the way Leia's story has ended in this.
Okay.
And the motivation for her, her seeing Obi-Wan come back and happy and everything, that made her happy. That moves her character forward. we know where she's going to go from here on, and we see that her adoptive parents are accepting her wearing a holster.
Right. She's
with
grown.
her everyday apparel.
Right.
So it wasn't the Ewok thing, because I mean, I'm sorry, when you throw in the Ewoks, I'm thinking,
like the happy, like glub glub.
Yeah. I'm like, no, it wasn't a
I think it's more of like it was just too neat and tidy after such a dramatic, because he's like, there was the most epic bring up to that battle scene, which was epic, and
it's a bittersweet ending.
Felt like,
it's a bittersweet ending because we know what's going to happen from here on out. It's not it wasn't a happy ending when you think about it. It's a bittersweet ending.
Right.
So
I mean, I see where he's coming from, because
I see where he's coming from, but I have to disagree with it, because it's, like I said, the plan was this series was planned to be a standalone series, no sequel.
Actually, it was originally planned to just be a movie.
Right. So just this one whole thing, neat and tidy, ended. Let's move on.
How about you, sis? Do you agree?
I have a couple of different thoughts on the ending of this show.
Okay.
And a couple of different thoughts on the writing.
Okay.
Bear with me, because this is going to take a few minutes. My husband was kind of disappointed with this TV show, and Dan has slowly been getting disillusioned with Star Wars for a while. And when I finally got it out of him, what was really bothering him about this show, the writer kind of took over, but the more I think about it, the more I realize he's kind of right in some regards. The one regard being, this was not a hero's journey. Obi-Wan is the reluctant hero in this show, which is great, which works for Obi-Wan. But this wasn't a true hero's journey. This was the journey of the reluctant hero becoming the mentor, which is what we needed to see out of Obi-Wan. We needed to see him come back from what he felt was his failings and learn from his mistakes in order to become the mentor that Luke Skywalker needs, to become the mentor in order to train the next generation of Jedi and not make the same mistake again. We get that. I do agree with Jason in that this was very neat and tidy in the ending. Mm-hmm. As much as I loved seeing Obi-Wan meet Luke, seeing Obi-Wan give Luke the T-14 model, the whole hello there line, I don't think it was needed. I think he could have just left the T-14 with Owen and walked away. Mm-hmm. I think that would have been better storytelling. As far as what happens with Reva, she needed to have that conversation with Obi-Wan, and I'm glad her story is not finished.
Yeah.
Now, while Reva was a redemption arc, we still don't know if she's been truly redeemed.
No.
Right.
So there's questions with that.
It's not just okay, I'm going to make, because she's been making choices that's been driving her down this path. So does it just, that just doesn't go away.
Right. Now, my one complaint, I would have loved to, like I said, I would have loved to have seen Obi-Wan hand Owen the model and walk away. And that would be all that we see of Obi-Wan. It should have gone from that right to Vader, and from Vader just end. Instead, we do get the cameo we all were kind of hoping for. But I felt the cameo with Qui-Gon was too little, too late.
I agree.
Rushed.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
They could have saved it for episode 2.
I think they could have brought it in. I think the scene itself was perfect. They just needed to move that scene to a different spot.
I think they could have done. There was a missed opportunity here with Qui-Gon's character.
But I don't think the thing is I don't think that Qui-Gon or I don't think there shouldn't Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan or not Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon or Yoda or any other Jedi. I don't think anybody should have showed up in this show because it was about Obi-Wan coming into his power. If another Jedi shows up, then it's just showing Obi-Wan can't do it himself.
But at that respect, Obi-Wan coming into his power, that's how he was able to connect with Qui-Gon.
He was able to finally connect with Qui-Gon. So I think what they should have done was that scene should have been moved to a different spot in the TV show, maybe before he goes and sees Luke.
Nope.
And there could not have been any discourse between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon.
Like,
nope.
No.
Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why again, because as in all Jedi, they have to overcome some sort of problem before they can move up in that next level. And that was his conflict, his inner conflict about Anakin, Darth Vader was what was keeping him from contacting.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with them bringing in Qui-Gon. I think it just should have been in a different spot in the show.
I think it would have ruined the show if they had put it somewhere else in the show.
I think it could have been in a different spot of the show, and there not be any conversation other than maybe Obi-Wan acknowledging that he now sees his master.
Well, I think that
either way,
it's like I do think it was necessary to show Qui-Gon because
it was very necessary to show.
It was because he's been brought up so many times during the entire series. So it was the payoff for Obi-Wan.
It was payoff for Obi-Wan, yes.
It's
correct.
The payoff.
The other thing is like as much as that, the Owen scene with Luke was maybe kind of like a non-plus thing, but that was where the viewer got that shows that Obi-Wan is no longer tied. He can go off and do other adventures because he's like, look, Owen, Luke is he just needs to be a boy. You've got this covered. You got this, man. I get
right there. Obi-Wan did not need to meet Luke. He could have just looked.
I mean, it could have ended where he's walking away, and then Owen said,
"I'm going to disagree with two of you on that one as well." Because the reason why I'm disagreeing with you on that is because we know that in A New Hope, Luke knows who Ben is.
Yes,
Luke knows who Ben is, and it's obvious that he'd met him once before. So the fact that it was like, it was owed to Obi-Wan for all that he's done. I mean, in the end, he has been protecting Luke.
I think the thing is like I think that it was important that Owen and Ben and Obi-Wan had that conversation, and it as much as when he's like, hey, you can take care of him. I know you got this because you just protected him against an Inquisitor. You got this,
right?
The thing is when he walks over, it kind of like gives the viewer understanding that Obi-Wan can do other things, but when he walks back to the thing and then Owen says, hey, do you want to meet him? I think that it could have ended right there. But I think the fan service is him going up to Luke and going, hello there.
And that's what it was. It was fan service.
That was fan service. But when Owen said, do you want to meet him? It could have been enough right there.
Yeah. Obi-Wan could have just walked to Owen and said, no, I think it's better this way.
Or no, I think it could have just left it right there.
And handed him the T-14 and then turned around and walked away. Don't get me wrong. I loved hearing him say hello there.
Hello there.
But
that's fan service.
I think that's a little bit too much nitpicky.
We are nitpicky.
It's me. It's unfortunately, Walt. You know me. It's me.
I know you
from a storyteller's point of view.
I know. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from an enjoyment point, and either way, I would have been satisfied. I'll just put it to you that way. Either way, I would have been satisfied.
Overall, this TV show.
I love this TV show. It was awesome.
I mean,
it reminded me why I was a Star Wars fan in the first place.
Compared to the way, what is it? The Last Jedi ended, and they just kept going. at the end of that movie and going, all that was like, okay, you don't need to show the kid using the Force to grab the broom. That was Disney speaking. Stop it.
Yeah.
You know, that whole ending took forever to end and we got nothing out of it. In this point for Obi-Wan, they kept showing us things and it was like, hey, this is a positive. The next thing, hey, this is another positive.
Yeah.
Hey, this is another positive. I like this, you know, and it's like, it's one of those things where we know this is the end of the show.
Yeah.
We don't want it to end.
We don't want it to end on a negative note.
We don't want it to end on a negative note. And we're going to give you these little bitty pieces that you can take a bite of, little taste of what could happen in the future. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Greg's right. I think Owen did realize he was out of his element in protecting Luke.
Yes.
Because he was kind of like saying, so you're
exactly, Dirk. Exactly.
He did kind of mention that. He's like, you know, you're going to be you said you were not coming around, and he's like, so you're going to come around, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And I do agree with Dirk that they gave those moments to the audience.
That was a fan service.
Yeah.
And to what you just said, Walt, about the feel goods, your mom hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
There is another episode. Yes, thank you. I want more.
Yeah. It's left us wanting
there
more.
Really was. And
overall, this, like I said, this series, you know, coming on the tails of Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, has continued to remind me why I'm a Star Wars fan in the first place. Why I love the storytelling that is involved in these TV shows.
Yeah.
I do tend to see things a little differently, and the older I get, the more I start looking at the storytelling aspects of it. I can't help it; it's what I do. But honest to God, come on, man! You gave me Darth Vader. How can I complain? You all gave me Darth Vader, man.
I got Obi-Wan.
My heart. You gave me Darth Vader.
I'm telling you, though, the best follow-up to this should be a Darth Vader series.
Yes,
I think so.
And yes, Dirk, I think they gave us all what we've been looking for a long time.
I did. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. When we finally saw him come into his own, and he connected in and everything, he lifted all those rocks. I was like, yes, I was so excited for Obi-Wan. I was like, this is the Obi-Wan I want.
The Obi-Wan we wanted. This is the Obi-Wan we wanted.
And then it makes sense of why he is just so, it's so effortless in A New Hope, you know, Jedi mind tricking everybody. You know, and
what you're looking for,
right? It's just no. I would love to have an Obi-Wan Qui-Gon training. Go look for some
what are you doing?
Look for some surviving Jedi.
Yeah, that would be
and move the story away from the thing.
Yeah, that would be a good storyline. Yeah, that would be a good storyline.
Let's talk Miss Marvel.
Let's talk about Miss Marvel. Hey,
sorry, Walt.
Hey, pop up that picture there, because this is the big thing. What do we see there? This was at the very beginning.
This was great. This was great.
That is the seal of the 10 rings.
Yep.
Oh my God, you're right.
So we find out that the way that episode 2 ended with Ms. Marvel getting away with the hot guy in the car, and then his mom is sitting in the back seat. So apparently, and I'm just guessing, she explains where they came from, and she explains that they're jinns, as in genies.
Yep.
And
which is a Middle Eastern thing,
right? Yeah. And this bangle is one of a set of 2. So this comes from a flashback scene where they were trying to find the bangles, and we see I think it's Kamala Khan's great
grandmother.
Great grandmother.
She's the one in the gray dress at the top.
Right. So, and the British are coming in to stop them, but they make it out with the one bangle.
Because this is during the British invasion right before partition of India and
Pakistan. Exactly. So, and then it just goes from there, where Hot Guy's mom says that we want to use you to help us get back to where we belong. So since
that guy's name is Cameron, by the way.
Cameron. So this leads us to think that this leads me to think that are they from the same realm that Shang-Chi's parents?
I was going to say Shang-Chi.
That's what I was thinking after watching it. Yeah.
The rings are from that little alternate world.
Right.
Come forward.
Right. And then the other thing is, that they removed the bangle from a blue hand, a severed blue hand. Was this a Jinn or was this a Kree?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, questions. I got questions.
I got questions too, especially about the blue hand.
Yeah. So.
As long as it's not Paulo Zan's.
Right.
Better not be. That's a logical jump, even though it's Farscape.
Yeah. The big thing in this episode was her brother's wedding.
That was kind of fun. They did it they almost did it like a little mini Bollywood special.
So this wedding was I want to say this was a cool wedding.
So I'm going to find out just how close a true Indian wedding like that is because Dan and I have been invited to one.
Actually, one of my good friends, her and her husband had a traditional Indian wedding in India. By the way, they're not Indian. So at the time, my friend, she was working for someone who was from India, and she was like, you know what? Have the wedding in my old village in India, and all this stuff and everything. I'll just say that the husband, who's also a good friend of mine, in preparation for this wedding and everything in this village, when it came time to the wedding, and I'm just taking out one small, like this much of what they had to go through for this wedding. He arrived on the back of an elephant.
Yep.
From the top of the hill, he arrived to the wedding on the top of an elephant and dressed in traditional Indian garb. So,
wow.
Yeah, he said he was sweating, buckets. But
I believe it, yeah.
And I've seen video of this wedding, and I have to tell you, if I'm going to get married, I want to have a traditional Indian wedding.
I'm going to tell you what, that wedding was like a blast. I mean, come on, that was fun.
They got gifts from everybody in the village. They did, of course, they only knew like 5 people that lived there in the village, but they got gifts from everybody.
It's a huge community thing.
It's a huge community thing. And I thought that was very cool.
Any reason to celebrate?
Yeah. Their wedding vows were cool. Their wedding vows were cool in this. In this. And again, as I said with Dirk, I agree with Dirk. Kamala's brother is probably the coolest person on the planet of the Earth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Very cool person. Very cool character.
Right there with Dirk.
So, but yeah. The whole thing is, there's really not much to say about this other than that the wedding goes on, and in the middle of the wedding, cool hot guy shows up and says that you're not moving fast enough. You're not moving fast enough for my mother, so her and the rest of the Jinns are coming here to kill everybody and take the bangle away from you so that they can try and make it back.
We got to see Kamala do a little bit more with her powers this time, other than just, basically throwing diamond stairs and stuff. We got to actually see her do
to defend herself.
Stretch.
Yeah. And mostly it was to defend herself. And it was very cool, for somebody who, she doesn't know how to fight, but she's
definitely go into the first episode when she finds the bangle and she puts it on, you see the flash.
Yes.
Yes.
And
the thing with Kamala Khan in the comic books is that she's able to stretch, kind of similar to Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four, but a little bit better, more.
And her powers come from the Inhuman side.
Yeah. And so seeing her, you know, seeing that stretch finally, seeing her do that, I was like, yes, there she is. All right, she's on her way, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So because she uses, you know, she uses the stretch power to, you know, to get up, you know, to climb on things and everything. So the way that they've done the translation of the power so that it doesn't conflict with the introduction of the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic later on in these couple of years, hopefully soon.
Well, we've seen John Krasinski's get introduced in
Chris Evans wants to come back as the fire guy.
Okay, look, since we now have the multiverse of madness out there, and after watching that movie yesterday, I'm sitting here going, yeah, I need to see Captain America. And
he said if he got an opportunity to come back as any Marvel character, he wants to come back as the fire
Human Torch.
Human Torch. Yeah. He wants to come back as the Human Torch.
You know what? I'll buy that, but let's make it a flashback so that we can see the android Human Torch back in the first Captain America movie.
Yes.
And we can have what was it? The Invaders.
Yes. I gotta say, even with the fight scene with this TV show, they're still keeping it
kid friendly
and innocent. That bit of innocent. The other thing that I really liked about I'm really liking about this show is the aspects of community and family that they are displaying. I think right now, with everything going on in the world, we need that.
Yes,
we need that.
Yes, and of course, a lot of people are going to complain about that, and I'm not. I mean,
he's not a pasty white girl either, and you know what? We need diversity, so they can.
And I love the cultural aspect of it as well, because if you think about it,
wonderful.
That, you know, with her family, her culture, that bangle with the genies, it all matches.
Yes,
even the music.
That all matches.
Even the music. I mean, like I said, they did the whole wedding scene like it was like a mini Bollywood movie, which I thought was great. I mean, people are like, I don't understand Bollywood movies. They're just feel good love stories.
They're just feel good. Exactly.
Just go watch it and enjoy it for what it is.
Watch one, and you'll. I mean, I every once in a while I pull up the old Bollywood movies every once in a while just because.
Addictive to watch because they're just a nice little piece of fun.
That's all it is. Even their action movies are fun to watch.
They are. Oh my god, I watched one just because it sounded good, and I'm like, what am I watching? And I was hooked.
Yeah. I mean, and you gotta love the musical pieces in these Bollywood movies.
They're great.
This little Bollywood piece, I was expecting this in this wedding, I was totally expecting it because you knew it was going to be in there. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a closer with something similar to that.
Oh god, I hope so. That would be so much fun.
And for those of you who dislike that aspect of this show, if you sat back and you watched Peacemaker with the dance sequence at the beginning, it's no different than that.
It's not. Here you go, Walt. Dirk can't wait to take pictures of you on that elephant.
Yeah.
Remember to invite the rest of us to that wedding.
Right.
Walt has frozen.
He's frozen. Back. Nope, he's frozen. He's
frozen. We can hear him.
He's like snapshots. It's like snap.
Yeah, you all are frozen to me too. So
Walt is on Instagram. There he goes.
It's awesome.
I'm back.
Yay!
Sort of. It's still kind of glitchy here.
Yeah. So let's go.
How
many more episodes are left of this? Are they doing the 7?
I think there's either 3 or 4 left. So it's either 6 or 7. So
so here's a question. Do you want to just switch over to Miss Marvel next week?
We can switch over to Miss Marvel next week.
Miss Marvel next week?
Well, it's not like we got a Star Wars show to do.
No, not yet. I mean, what is it? I think
dying for Mandalorian. I'm dying for
Bad Batch.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, I'm with Walt right now, man.
Which one? Bad Batch. Oh, that's next, isn't it?
I think
Bad Batch.
I think Bad Batch is next as far as Star Wars goes.
Yeah.
And but I think before then we're getting She-Hulk.
But that She-Hulk's not till September, right?
August.
August. Okay.
Bad Batch is September, I do believe.
Okay, so
what's next for us right now?
We're
going to finish off Miss Marvel, and
Ms.
then
Marvel.
I think the consensus was to cover a couple episodes of Farscape.
Yeah, in between the next big thing.
So if y'all haven't watched Farscape, now's the time to do it. Get out there, go watch some Farscape. Where's Steve?
My name is John Crichton. I've been shot through a wormhole. Somebody help me. I'm being chased by an insane military commander. Uh-oh, I've been watching that too much.
You and that white death.
I'm still kind of glitchy here. But
you are.
I would explain why I'm glitchy, but I don't want the whole world to know why I'm glitchy.
Yeah,
I personally think it was a huge success with Obi-Wan.
It was.
And I know there are some people who are they're having troubles with it, and I think they understand why. I mean, I know that Jason really loved the show. He just was kind of like let down a little bit on the clean ending. But you all made your points. It's like, I think it ended great. I love the show. I know he really liked the show too, because it was well built.
Yeah.
It was well written. It was well built, and it answers a lot of questions from A New Hope. Yep. Why he calls Darth Vader Darth.
It fixed a couple of New Hope plot holes too that we never realized were actually there until now. So
right. So I think that this was a great story in being able to. So I personally think Obi-Wan was a massive success. I love it. I will watch it again, especially episode 6. I'll probably watch that a few hundred more times.
Yeah. Agreed.
Any lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, I'll be watching.
We're gonna do more. We need to keep doing some lightsaber battle.
And for a lot of people who really don't understand everything, you can always watch everything in timeline order on Disney Plus. So
yes, you can.
You have hundreds of hours of viewing. Hundreds.
There's a lot you can watch. I mean, I'm gonna get everybody caught up with like Clone Wars, Rebels, because when we get to Ahsoka, you need to know her story.
You need to know the rest of the Ahsoka story, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So watching Clone Wars and Rebels will catch you up on that. Yes. And maybe even Bad Batch.
Oh yeah,
watch Bad Batch. If you haven't watched Bad Batch, watch Bad Batch, man. These guys are great.
I want to be Fennec Shand. I love her.
Which she's in Bad Batch.
She is in Bad Batch. That's why I said I want to be Fennec Shand.
But yeah, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Bad Batch, it takes place right after Clone Wars. Right where Clone Wars in, like if you watch Clone Wars and you get to those final episodes
after Clone Wars, before Obi-Wan,
before everything else. Yep. Get to watching Bad Batch, people.
And then even then, in the first episode of Bad Batch, we're introduced to one of the main characters in Rebels.
Yep.
So
it all ties together, guys. It all ties
together. So
I'm excited.
Alrighty then.
I'm excited.
Hey, if you guys have a TV show that you would like to see us cover that we haven't already mentioned, please go ahead and email us. You can get a hold of us at. Hold on.
She'll get it.
Well, it's the same email, so
3, 2,
go ahead and email us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. And if you want to be a guest on Spoiler Alert or on our Tuesday night show, reach out to us. We're looking for guests for our regular Tuesday night show. And we always love it when people come pop on Spoiler Alert and help us talk about the TV shows. But
it'd be great if we could get some of those people who actually do the shows come in here and just talk with us.
It would be. It would be a lot of fun if we could.
Just throwing that out.
A lot of fun if we could. Who's got connections to Filoni, Feige, and Favreau?
I wish I did.
Yeah.
So you know what? Jon Favreau strikes me as the one that would actually come on and do this with us.
Or Greg Weisman, because
Or Weisman, yeah.
Because I would like to get Weisman on here to talk about Young Justice.
Oh,
So,
that'd be fun.
that would be
DC.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some DC.
Well, when the 5th season of Young Justice comes up, so
when is Doom Patrol and
I love to watch it. I love those.
Doom Patrol and Titans.
The Titans. I love the Titans.
I don't know.
I know Umbrella Academy is out right now, but that's
Doom Patrol and Titans are going to be back. So I would love to do Doom Patrol and Titans.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll come back because both of those shows are pretty popular.
Yeah,
and Peacemaker if we get a season 2.
Oh, we're getting a season 2 of Peacemaker.
Oh, no, we definitely got to do Peacemaker.
In fact, I think they've already started pre-production. I think.
Oh, that's
good.
Cool.
Okay, awesome.
So,
but again, if there's a TV show that we haven't mentioned that you guys want to see, let us know. If you want to come on the show and hang out with us and talk about, what's going on, pros and cons of your favorite TV show or whatever as we're watching them, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to add you to the crazy crew. But until then, we'll be back next week with Miss Marvel. Same time, same station. And I've been your host, Beth Freely. And I want to thank Mariam and Walt and Darren because he's been such a good boy during all of this.
He's starting to curl around.
I know. He's our little geek mascot at this point. But until then, I want to say thank you for joining us. And may the force be with you. We'll see you next week.